I guess the blizzard thawed out. I heard my oil pan should be delivered today. So I went ahead and jacked up the engine. I'm going to drain the oil, get the pan off, and get it ready for the new pan. If you look at this, it's like about 8 inches. So I think, I mean, the sump should be shorter than that. Hopefully it's like 3 inches right there, you know. I wonder about the starter. Hopefully that's not in the way too. Anyways, I'm going to crack open a cold one, get the oil drained out, and wait for the oil pan. Apparently I gotta take the starter off just to get the oil pan bolts out. Never supposed to use your hand as a hammer, right? You know, I'm a little worried about the starter fitting. Hope it does. I mean, is there any sort of starter relocation thing? Do I have to use a different bell housing that like reverses it or something? So I don't know. Anyways. Is that working or not? Yeah, it is. So I got like 2 oil pan bolts left that I gotta get out of this thing. And now 1 starter bolt left. I could probably just let the starter hang. Unless all that wiring's already disconnected, maybe I could just take this off. It's less slung weight, right? It's safer. It's a 13. Let's see if I can get this 12 to fit on here. I mean this half. Oh, that's hard. There we go. You know, in the future, turbo manifold's gonna look real good on here. Alright. Look at that. Sweet. It looks really pretty in there. 1 left. Now, unless there's some hidden ones or something, that should be it. I mean, oh, there's some oil pan bolts, guys. I mean, a bell housing, transmission bell housing, 2 oil pan bolts. Can you hurry? Oh my god. 1,000,000 threads. There's a lot of footage I won't use, right? Now I think the oil pan's gonna come off. There's a bolt right there. How do I miss that? How in the world did I miss that bolt? Did y'all see that? And it's the tightest bolt on the whole thing. How's that possible? Yes.
Oh, not too bad. Have you had a good Christmas?
I did. How was yours?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah?
It was great. Ready for the new year now.
I hear you, man. It's good to see you with your hat on.
Yes, sir.
I now recognize you.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, even when I go to work, they're like, who's the new guy?
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, Happy New Year to you.
You too. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Let's see what they sent me. So here's my oil pan. This is a Kevko Racing front sump oil pan for the 2.3 Lima. Full-on racing pan. Not that I need that, putting it on a stock 2.3 Lima, but, you know, there's not a lot of options. Now, they told me this one was a little blemished. They hooked me up with a pretty good deal and kind of just painted it up a little bit to make it look better. So here it is, pretty high capacity look like. It's got internal baffles. Check out these spring-loaded doors inside there to allow the oil to go one way and not the other. This is rad. So this mounts however the heck it mounts, and it'll drop down towards the front rather than towards the back. You know what I mean? This is the first mail I've ever had delivered that says to the Texas Hillbilly. So this is called an F801 front sump oil pan for a 2.3 Lima. to fit into a Pinto. So enough questioning it. Somebody makes a pan exactly for this application. So I'm happy with that. Of course, made in the USA, made in Minnesota. They don't just import parts; they actually make them in Minnesota. So, looking at this thing, the weld quality is pretty dang good. It's got some ribs for support on the bottom of the pan. It's thick. It's got gussets to reinforce these edges here, and it's rear gusseted as well. Like I said, it's got these spring-loaded baffles in here, these little doors. Yeah, so this is a F801, and this is an F801-1. Kevko, which is out of Fairmont, Minnesota, they make all kinds of racing wheel pans for Fords. Well, actually, I got a catalog here that I could show you. Really nice catalog, actually. So we got a Nova Street Pan, stock replacement, 72 Chevy Nova, wet sump Nova. They have dry sump stuff, LS pans. Let's see, Circle Track, wet sump Chevy. So it's mostly Circle Track racing products, but they also have some stock applications. Big Block Chevy, Ford 301 to the 351 Windsor, Ford 302 to 351 Windsor and Cleveland, Ford Cleveland, Ford 2300 in there. My pan's probably in there somewhere. Ford Big Block FE, Mopar, dry sumps, pickup tubes listed here, valve covers for all kinds of different applications, timing chain covers, even got some starters. Was that motor mounts? Ford motor mounts, LS motor mounts, small like Chevy motor mounts. So a lot of pretty much anything you can fabricate with metal. Then there's a lot of shop tools. And here's some photos of all their winning vehicles kicking ass in the roundy rounds. Right? Big thanks to Nathan at Kevko Racing Products for giving me a good deal on these products and sending me a little care package and some stuff to promote them with. So let's slap it in the Pinto and see how it works out. That's ridiculous. Ooh. Came loose pretty free. And it's got RTV up front with the gasket. This is a rubber gasket that they use. I got a Felpro gasket to go with the other pan. This rubber gasket goes inside the grooves of the aluminum pan, which obviously we're not going to use something like that. I wonder if I should remove these lines, transmission lines. Okay, there it is. I hope that oil pan or oil pickup came with a new gasket. It's kind of disappointing this didn't come with a gasket, but let's check the Felpro gasket set. Maybe it comes with it. Let's try to save this. Alright, I couldn't save that gasket, but knowing me, I have lawnmower parts. And here is a lawnmower gasket. It's a little bit too small that way, and the bolt holes need to be wallered out a little bit, but it's a perfect size here. So I'm going to use this. Yeah, we'll make this work. Yeah, that'll work. Now, which way do you go? To the front. Yeah, make quick work of it. Don't like how the starter hangs down low. I hope that's not a problem. There it is. Good fit. Doesn't hit the stud anymore. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, quick comparison of its factory rear sump and Kevko front sump. Yeah, let's just slap this up there and see what happens. Why don't you go? You're like going through the hole. But you're not. There you are. Okay, it's through. And it's held. Okay, so let's start installing bolts, I guess. Didn't mean to go that tight. close. Alright, so I ran into some problems. Obviously with a cast aluminum pan, your flange is a lot thicker. So a lot of these bolts are too long. They're hitting like this one here goes up into this chunk of metal. It's not an open end hole. So it hits a dead end and it doesn't get tight. There's several of those scenarios. And then I have some really long ones that for a really fat part of the flange that I'm obviously not going to use. So I'm like, I don't know, 6 bolts short now. Also, this gasket just doesn't want to stay in place. It keeps trying to like scoot out, and I can't get it to stay. Like right here, you can see it's coming out just a little bit. It's a flat area, so I think it's gonna seal, but I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and try to drop the engine down in here without the starter installed and see how it sits, and we'll go from there. The aluminum plate between the transmission and the engine, between the bell housing and the engine, it caught the cross member and it's folded out like that. So it's like almost dropping down in place. Also, my power steering lines, like the oil pan's going to sit right on those lines. If I lower it down, I mean, it's actually touching the lines right now, and it's touching. Just got to get that line out of the way. I think it's just one line that's touching. I just beat that aluminum plate, and I think it might clear now. No regrets. Oil pan is sitting on the sway bar. I have like a fraction of an inch to go that way. There it is. I think it's in. Touching, it's not touching the sway bar, but almost is, and it's almost touching the power steering rack. There's like no wiggle room here. I mean, the engine could come back a hair, but then it would hit the rack even more. We're going to lower it down. Take the engine lift off. I guess I can use the old oil dipstick. I just had to cut it. Let's get this out of the way and set the hood on it, see what it looks like. It fits! Check it out! The hood's shut. The 2.3 is under the hood, and it looks good. So now I can move this car around and get other things done, and we'll get back on this as soon as possible.